got the setup right in qualifying. He was on pole position by an absolute country mile, nearly 3 seconds quicker than Alex Catlow, which is very un-Mazda MX-5 like. Then it's Matthew McCluskey and Matt Flowers, row 2. Row 3 for Jack Spooner and Dennis Pilimonkin, if I'm reading that right, with Charlie Vi and Keith Dalton on row 4. Row 5, Ben Hoy and Kevin Dengate. Then Liam Martin Bradley and Harrison Leach with Chris Whitmore and Chris Winstanley on row 7. Row 8, Luke Jeffrey Bashford and Adam Lawrence with Benjamin Amarin Draper and Kurt Anscombe on row 9. Row 10 for the BRSCC Sporting and Operations Administrator Charlie Snell. He's got Zach Hancock's for company. Then it's Simon Privet and Russell Clark with William Tyrrell and the Head of Club Operations, Luke Souch, on row number 12. He will have his sights firmly set, I suspect, on car 342, a few rows ahead of him. David Scowler and Dale Whiteman are on row 13. Row 14, Simon Browning and Leah Jacobs with Mustafa Saeed and Patrick Gilligan at the back. Now, Patrick Gilligan will start at the back with a 10-second delay, so he will set off 10 seconds after the rest of the field. That's because he was disqualified from qualifying this morning for overtaking under yellow flags. The car he overtook was car 291, Luke Souch, the Head of Club Operations. If you're going to overtake someone under yellow flags, which we do not endorse, make sure it's not someone who is pretty much in charge these days, if you ask Luke, of the club running the event.
And of course, a clerk of the course in his own right.
Exactly.
So it's exactly what the national competition rules will state, of course.
Yep.
One thing to point out about Jordan Pimley's extraordinary pole lap, have to remember he does quite like the wet conditions. I refer you to the extraordinary drive that he put in at Snetterton a couple of years ago, where he started, I think it was 27th and last on the back of the grid, and came through to take the victory. It might have been possibly one of, if not his very first MX-5 victory. One of the most impressive drives that we've seen in this championship. It's the reason why, in the end, he's had the number 1 on the car. But it's going to be fascinating to see now with the dry conditions, or the slightly greasy conditions that we've now got, with the rain starting to come down, or at least sprinkling in the area, how that's going to change things and how much he might have changed the setup. Catlow, meanwhile, will be in the mix to try and get up front. Of course, he's the leading rookie in the field. And I'll be intrigued to what Matt Flowers can do. One notable omission from the grid this weekend, though, is second place man in the championship, Jack Warry. Not here, having scored 4 podiums in a row from the start of the season. So the likes of Keith Dalton, Kevin Dengate and co, and Alex Catlow, crucially, can take some key points off of Jack, but of course he'll use these as his couple of drop scores by the end of the season. Yes,
which does then mean he can't really afford any other bad weekends between now and the end of the season, can he? Jordan Pimley, 4 wins from 4 races so far this season, so he comes into this as the clear favourite, especially after that qualifying performance. What can he do then from pole position? 15 minutes on the clock. The Kumho Tyre Mazda MX-5 Clubman Championship getting ready to kick off our summer race weekend here at Donington Park, and hopefully we will get 15 minutes of exciting racing. The red lights go on, they will go out now, and we're racing at Donington Park. Someone's stalled in the middle of the grid by the looks of it. Hopefully they all are able to avoid him, which they have, and it is going to be the pole sitter, yes, car number 1, that leads them down into Redgate Corner. They're 4 abreast for second place, though. This is already getting lively. Who was that nipping up the inside? Couldn't quite see, but it will definitely be Jordan Pimley with the advantage. Cars scatter into the gravel further back. That's Adam Lawrence in the green and black, number 73, who will go gravel tracking. Pimley leads the way. Second for Matt Flowers. Good start for him. And then it's side-by-side Scott for third.
I think the car which is in the mix might have been the 27. It was an AB Motorsport car, maybe Jack Spooner, but he's dropped back to around about 6th as they slither and slide their way through the apex of the old hairpin for the first time. A couple of cars running a little wide. See 27 there, and that's another car that's run way too wide and into the gravel. That is the 3 of Chris Winstanley beached at the Redgate gravel trap. If they can't get that pushed out, that will automatically be a safety car up through McLean's for the first time giving chase. In third place, it is Alex Catlow. So despite the quick start, he hasn't quite managed to make that one. It might have been actually 94 that had made a good start, Dennis Pilimonkin, but from row 3, because that's the AB Motorsport car in the field. They're all jostling for position at the top of the hill at Coppice. Around the outside is Kevin Dengate, 178, and he has to his inside, trying to make up the number 2. And that is Matthew McCluskey. He's dropped back from 4th on the grid. So not a great start for Matthew. And also under attack for second is Catlow, under pressure from the 11, which is the Keith Dalton. Great start for Keith, who's come up as high as 4th now when he started back at 8th on the grid. As they come to the end of lap 1, and that's Kevin Dengate going grass tracking. And particularly with the rain we've had this morning, he's lucky not to loop it around, being particularly icy out there at the end of lap 1. But hands up, so it might well be yellow flags, but we're acknowledging the fact there is the live snatch going on at Redgate Corner.
Indeed so. Live snatch, though, means that we don't need a safety car. They can cover that under yellow flags, and the race can continue. I suspect those yellow flags will be gone by the next time they arrive at Redgate, which is good news. There's Jordan Pimley. He's very much continuing the performance that we saw in qualifying. He leads at the end of one lap by 1.6 seconds over Matt Flowers second, Catlow third, Keith Dalton, who is the best of the Masters drivers, is there in fourth. Keith has won the Masters category all 4 times so far this year and has one overall podium, a third place finish in the most recent race to his credit as well, with Pillamonkin completing the top 5, Matthew McCluskey 6th, and the rest all filing in behind. Side-by-side battle here up towards McLean's Corner. Meanwhile, that's the recovering Kevin Dengate in the 178, who already is starting to regain some lost ground. That's Liam Martin Bradley that he goes past on the way up into McLean's Corner.
Liam starting back in 11th, so staying 11th at this point as they turn through Coppice. There's one of the only handful of Mark 1s that compete in the championship run by Hills Motorsport, which is Jack Spooner, who's also not a great start for him. 27 cars dropped way back down the order of about 12th. Side by side between, this is Pillamonkin and Matthew McCluskey trying to pick his way back up through the order. Stuck himself out around the outside and got the line for the next point of the corner. This now gives Pillamonkin with a little bit of an aid from Catlow, who is... no, it's not Catlow, is it? That is Keith Dalton. So where has Alex Catlow disappeared to? He's dropped backwards somewhere because Flowers comes through, then Dalton, and then we have the throwing Catlow back in 7th. You're absolutely right. So whatever happened was... See the McCluskey, she's gesticulating to Dennis, give me room or get out of it, because McCluskey didn't quite appreciate going side by side that long. He wants the position to keep it without getting bothered too much more.
Yes, McCluskey, of course, started 4th. So, yeah, trying to reclaim the position side by side through the old hairpin. There's further contact. The 11 car gets sort of knocked out wide of Keith Dalton. And Keith will not have appreciated that one either. They're still debating it up the hill. And now they've got Pillamonkin joining in. So this is a 3-way battle for what is now 3rd position, with the 6th place car catching up as well now slightly, I would argue. So this is getting very, very busy as we round the top end of the circuit.
That's Harrison Leach, who started back in 12th position. He was somebody who did some running in the Winter Esports Series a few months ago, and now he's trying to lead on the inside line of Pillamonkin. He's taken the wider line, which is favourable in the wet conditions, because you come off the line, but then again, there's not really that much rubber laid down that stayed there, given how wet it's been. And now Leach, with no momentum, has now had to slot back in, and chosen to slot back in behind the 11 of Keith Dalton. That's all changed around. So Flowers now 2nd. It's now McCluskey up to 3rd through that sequence. It's then Pillamonkin 4th, and then Harrison Leach squirming around as Alex Catlow is also pushing on. That's in the 88 car, back in 7th place. And he's lapping on similar pace to Leach. So those two, if they get an opportunity, Andy, will start to progress forward unless the conditions start to worsen and don't play into their hands. Yes,
I suspect you are right. If they don't trip over each other, that's always a big if, isn't it, in one-make Mazda MX-5 racing. There goes the 42 car through. Ben Hoy, there is car number 1 in position number 1 and in a class of his own, really, at the moment. Jordan Pimley, he is now 5.8 seconds clear of Matt Flowers, who's a fairly lonely 2nd as well. McCluskey up to 3rd, as we've seen already, getting away though from Pillamonkin and Keith Dalton behind, as we've got some more side-by-side battling further down the order. And who's that you're pointing at, Scott?
Mr. Luke Souch.
Okay, so are we going to see Luke Souch gaining a position here? I wonder. I think he has gained from where he started.
Interestingly enough, on the timing screen, he was ahead of Charlie Snell by half a second. So he's managed to actually not only catch him but pass him on the road. This is obviously his first race in an MX-5, Mr. Snell. Luke has been very well versed in these cars the last few seasons.
So should have an advantage then?
Technically, yes. Oh, and there's one of the red line cars off in the grab. That's 58 that's gone off the road. That is Dale Whiteman that's gone quite well beached into the gravel on the short chute between McLean's and Coppice. Now, the Masters are going to try and push that out, but I imagine that's quite well firmly beached and not able to get out of there. So I don't want to say the words, Mr. McEwen, but I fear potentially a safety car may be imminent.
It depends again whether they've got one of the live snatch vehicles at that end of the circuit that can get to the car. We'll wait and see. 8.5 minutes to go, so hopefully we don't need to eat into that 8.5 minutes with a safety car period. We'll wait and see what happens as down into the braking zone we come, and a battle imminent here, I think. The 291 car of Luke Souch with some defending to do, and Charlie Snell right behind him. So the two competitors who work within the BRSCC are about to engage in some fun and games, I think, on track. All the more reason to hope that we don't get a safety car interruption.
Whoa!
Oh, a major drama for the 68, which rotates under braking into Redgate. That was Russell Clark with a very bizarre moment.
And that was right in front of the 93, which was Zach Hancock's. And both of them actually, the initial spin, well controlled and moved out of the way. But Zach Hancock's locked up and couldn't really get the car turned, but he managed to stop it enough. And thankfully, that was crisis avoided. Yes. But that was a real heart-on-your-mouth moment under brakes. The rear end just snapping around. And Zach, I think, a very lucky boy to get away with not getting contact in that situation.
Indeed so that could have been a lot worse than it was, as the number 13 car here of Charlie Vi goes on the attack, trying to find a way past the 68 as they head up the hill. There is the live snatch vehicle, thankfully, moving the 58 car out of harm's way. So Dale Whiteman's race is over, but thankfully everyone else's races can continue largely under green flag conditions. I'm sure the marshals will have that car out of the way within the next lap or so. So halfway through the 15 minutes then, Jordan Pimbley leads by 9.5 seconds. I'm struggling to remember a time that I've seen such a dominant performance in a Mazda MX-5 race of any kind, Scott. Yes, the conditions are playing into his hands, definitely, but he is utterly dominant at the moment. We had a change for second as well. Matthew McCluckey ahead of Matt Flowers. And what's going on in the private battle between Mr. Snell and Souch, I wonder?
Well, Charlie has more attentions behind him. That's the 666 of Simon Privet going on the attack, and he might well take the racing line, but Simon's not close enough to make a move up the inside. He's tailing Luke at the moment. Luke won't thank me for saying that in qualifying, even though it was the conditions, that Charlie was 3 seconds faster. But nonetheless, in the dry conditions now, this is very much a true test of exactly who has the speed. They were pretty decent in testing yesterday. As you see, Luke is going on the attack. That's the best form of defence. He is now battling with the 18 of Kurt Anscombe. He's looking to the outside line, but this might well give Charlie the chance to go through. He gets the undercut. They both go either side almost. That's almost Hackett and Schumacher style Spa 2000. And now Snell's sat on the outside line for the kink at Starkeys, up the hill towards Schwanzkurve, and then back towards the top of the hill at McLean's. And that move has seen Charlie successful move up another spot. That now gets him into what will be, I think, 16th position. But it also has allowed in that sequence, Andy, Luke to get away by a couple of car lengths. But I think even with 5 3/4 minutes to go, this battle ain't far from over.
No, I think that we're going to have those two stuck together for the rest of the race, because I don't see Luke Souch going anywhere else really now. He's got no one to slipstream from ahead, and so likely Charlie will be able to close in over the next straight or so. Battle just ahead of them meanwhile. That's number 19 of Benjamin Amarin Draper, who has just gained a position, I think, at the expense of Chris Whitmore, who started a couple of rows ahead of him on the grid. So that is for 12th position, which means Luke and Charlie are battling for 15th place. That's not bad going, really. Charlie started 19th. He was the better placed of the two on the grid, so they both move forward quite nicely, and they're about to start battling for a position inside the top 15. As now the sun starts to come out. So again, we're getting every season just over the course of the 10 minutes of this race so far, with the track now hopefully starting to improve ever so slightly.
Still a few sprinkles of rain on the camera lens. That might be a legacy from earlier on. This is intriguing now. A battle for second place. It's closed up between Matt Flowers, number 22, blue and yellow, the brighter blue number 2 of Matthew McCluckey, and the white MX-5 number 94 with the blue rollover. That is Dennis Pilamonkin. This is over second, third and fourth. So 2 of these 3 drivers will stand on the podium. Which 2 it's going to be, as the sun does indeed make a seemingly very rare appearance this weekend so far at Donington Park. Still with wipers ablaze through the chicane once again. This is at the end of lap 7. The gap now in front is 11.8 seconds. So Jordan Pimbley, in all weathers, is the man to beat. Down towards Redgate Corner. McCluckey picking his spot, looking to the outside line. And Flowers was just moving back to the middle of the road to defend from Matt. But Matt's comfortable enough to go on the outside. Puts 2 wheels over the curb. This now gives Pilamonkin. Now, these two are not friends from earlier on when they made contact. McCluckey's hand gestures was evident to that. There was a little bit of a touching of body panels through the first part of the Craner curves. But Pilamonkin sits back for the moment. We'll try and readdress and get another option later on to try and pass, but keeping the pressure on. But of course, the harder these two fight each other, the easier it is now, Andy, for Matt to start making a breakaway in second place.
Yeah, that's good news for Matt Flowers, isn't it then, who reclaims second position. They're side by side for third again now, with Pilamonkin to the outside at McLean's. Is that where the grip is? Is it wet enough for the outside line to be preferred? Not really. Looked as though McCluckey had a bit more grip on the inside. They're leaning on each other as they head up the hill. Outside line again for Pilamonkin. There's definitely no grip there at Coppice over the blind crest, and so Matthew McCluskey will hold on to third. But you're absolutely right, Scott. Matt Flowers has now pulled immediately the best part of a 1 second gap, I would argue, as they make their way down the exhibition straight and towards the end of another lap. Jordan Pimley, as the conditions continue to improve out there, goes faster and faster, a 1:25.8. That is just over 9 seconds faster than his pole position time, which was 3 seconds quicker than anyone else. So definitely he is finding more space. And in fact, most of the front runners setting personal best laps last time by. So conditions improving and the battle intensifying.
It does. The reason why I'm pointing to it is Spooner gets a 5-second penalty and Pilamonkin thinks, right, I'll try the outside line this time. And it does give him the road position to try and make it through. And again, they're going to go wheel to wheel for the third time in this race. They go out of view from our camera shot. And once it does catch up in a minute, which hopefully it will do in a moment, we'll do so. I was pointing out also on my screen, I noticed we see the Simon Privet car 666 just ahead of them. There has been a change of BRSCC personnel positions because Charlie is ahead of Luke now. So however that happened in the sequence, but this is just ahead of them and behind, just there as it comes into shot. There's the proof. Charlie is ahead of Luke at that point, and now Luke has attentions of the recovering Adam Lawrence, who started his race tracking through the gravel at Redgate Corners. They went through there. He's now challenging for a mid-position spot. So back up to 17th after his early gravel tracking in a 30-car field. That's not bad going from Adams, climbing up through the order as quick as he has.
Speaking of not bad going, Charlie Snell's last lap was about the 5th quickest lap on track. He's absolutely rapid at the moment, so maybe this was all part of the plan for Luke. We'll let the quicker driver through and try and chase him through the order. They're catching the group of cars ahead, so hey, this could be a masterstroke for Luke, and we'll see exactly how far up the order they can get. The trouble is there's only a minute and a half of the race to go, so they're going to have to get a bit of a move on if they're going to improve upon 15th and 16th places respectively. Battle for third heads back down towards Redgate Corner, and there's a bit more breathing room now for Matthew McCluskey ahead of Dennis Pilamonkin, the number 94 AB Motorsport car, which exits Redgate still close enough to think about a move maybe on what should be now the final lap of the race, but not quite close enough to do it, I don't think, into the old hairpin.
And further back, it's changed around again. Or no, it hasn't. I thought for a second it has. There was the darker coloured car. And not only it has changed for Luke because he's now lost a place to Adam Lawrence. So he's like a further place back. So I think in this initial battle of the BRSCC personnel, it's going to be 1-0 to Charlie. Down towards Redgate. He's going for a move now. This is on 551 of Whitmore up at the inside. Whitmore has to turn out to the apex and Charlie goes through. So that puts him into 14th position. And to be fair, as they go on to what will be, I think, the penultimate lap of the race, because as they came across the line, there was about a minute and 42 to go. Lap times are lap 125s. So I'd imagine this is the second to last lap. So really, Charlie's still got a couple of potentials here to gain a couple more spots. And if he does, he could get himself potentially as high as 12th place. And to be fair, where he started and in the conditions, that's not bad going in his first Mazda race as Jordan goes across to start the last lap of what's been a very dominant MX-5 Clubman race for him. And touch wood, all parties okay getting to the flag. This will be another addition to his perfect record through 2026, 5 wins out of 5, provided he gets there trouble-free.
Yes, I'd forgotten, to be fair, how far ahead he was when I said that was the final lap. Oops, drama, that's Pilamonkin, who has had a moment down at the chicane from 4th position. Maybe he was going for 3rd at the time, who knows, but the 94 car has dropped down the order. Where does he cross the line? 7th position, I believe. Yes, 7th place. So up into 4th now goes the 79 car. That is Harrison Leach from 12th on the grid. Brilliant race for Harrison. And Kevin Dengate back into the top 5 as well. He's actually battling Keith Dalton for the Masters win. Those two were nose to tail going on to this final lap of the race. Leader, though, Jordan Pimley, should be somewhere towards the end of his final lap. In fact, here he comes, I believe, up towards us. No, it's not the race leader, I don't think, is it? But he is well on his way to a dominant victory as we get a track limits penalty for the number 21 car. So Liam Martin Bradley, the second driver to be given a track limits time penalty, and both drivers actually to receive them running inside the top dozen. So that will shuffle the order around within the top end of the points. Here comes the leader, though. Oh, Jordan nearly loses it coming out of the final corner, pushing for a fastest lap, which he gets as he takes the checkered flag. Jordan Pimley, a 125.191 on the ragged edge to set that lap time at the end there, but he does manage to claim the victory and get the bonus point for the fastest lap as well. That was never really in doubt. Matt Flowers, a distant and quite lonely 2nd position, and it will be 3rd position for Matthew McCluskey in the end. So McCluskey does get the better of that battle with Dennis Pilamonkin after whatever whatever Dennis's issue was a lap ago here at the chicane. There goes Pilamonkin in the AB Motorsport car to come through in 7th position. Now, we wait with bated breath to see what's going to happen behind. Well, look at that big scrum of cars coming into the last corner. Somewhere in the middle of that, I think, was Charlie Snell. So we'll see where they end up through the final corner. And yes, he's gained some more. I think one car through the gravel trap, and he is going to get ahead of him. So where is Charlie Snell going to end up in? It's not quite 11th. The top 10, but it's 11th position. Fantastic drive from 19th on the grid. And Charlie Snell, the Sporting and Operations Administrator within the BRSCC, definitely claims a 1-0 victory or a 1-0 lead over Luke Souch, who was a lowly 15th, although still gained 9 positions from where he started.
And that's something even more impressive as well. He was only 0.6 of a second away from a top 10. Because he was behind Alex Cattler, who fell backwards again. So whatever happened from his good qualifying form, whether that was the conditions that helped him there or not sure. But he didn't quite have the same pace as it started to dry up, and he fell back a little more. His best lap of the race, was a 1:30.149. So possibly benefited from the dry for the wet conditions, but in the dry couldn't quite find exactly the same pace or translate the change in setup he needed to be able to be quicker in those dry conditions. I have to say though, this man is proving why number 1 last year absolutely wasn't a fluke at all. Even if he did win the championship by a single point, he's proven number 1 in every single aspect. And again, he is pretty much firmly stamping his authority again on this championship in 2026. 15-second victory. Can't say fairer than that.
Domination for Jordan Pimley, and it continues. His 5th win from 5 races. Matt Flowers 2nd, and Matthew McCluskey in 3rd, ahead of Harrison Leach and Kevin Dengate. Then Keith Dalton and Dennis Pilamonkin. He'll be disappointed with 7th, I feel. Liam Martin Bradley was 8th, ahead of Ben Hoy, and Alex Catlow likewise a bit disappointed with 10th. Charlie Snell, though, will be delighted with 11th. He finished just ahead of the 73 car of Lawrence, and then it was Benjamin Amarim Draper with Luke Jeffrey Bashford behind. Luke Souch 15th position in the end, and then it was Simon Privet, Chris Whitmore, Jack Spooner, Charlie Vi and Kurt Anscombe to complete the top 20. Dale Whiteman was a non-finisher, so too Patrick Gilligan, but only the 2 failing to finish after their early gravel trap excursions. So